Already we examined the order of the reactions for zero order and first order reactions about their concentrations of the reactants. But if the reactants are in the gaseous phase, so let us derive a relation or first order reaction equation. If the reactants and the products are in the gaseous phase. So let us take a reaction. A gives rise to the B and C, B plus C. That means on dissociation of A is giving the B and the C products. So these three are in the gaseous stage. If they are in the gaseous stage, then we will take their pressure. Okay, partial pressure of the particular gases. Let us take that Pi. P1 is the atmospheric pressure of a component reactant A is under in the beginning of the reaction, that is at the time t seconds, t is equal to 0. That means time is not at all started. That means at the beginning, in the beginning of the reaction, gas A is having the P1 atmospheric pressure. If it is having this one, the other two are at the 0 atmospheric pressures. Then after 3 seconds time, if the change in the pressure is X, that means gaseous pressure of the reactants A is coming down as X atmospheric pressures. Then final pressure at T seconds of time, gas A will be P1 minus X. At the same time, gas B will be the X atmospheric pressure. Whatever the difference is there, that much increasing will be there in the products. So this is the final equation. So P1 minus X P1 minus X is the pressure after decreasing X atmospheric pressure in the after T seconds of time. Then total pressure of the entire reaction, reactants and the products, PT is the total pressure, partial pressure. That is nothing but the P of A plus P of B plus P of C. But after at T seconds of time, PT, P1 minus X is the pressure of the gas A, X is the pressure of gas B, X is the pressure of gas C. If you simplify it, you are getting the P1 plus X. So therefore, total pressure at T seconds of time, after T seconds of time, PT is equal to P1 plus X. So this is the value we got it for the PT. Then from this one, you have to calculate the X value. X is equal to PT minus P1. This is the value of X. Substitute this equation value, X value, in this pressure of A. That means, but pressure of A at T seconds of time, how much is this? P1 minus X. In the place of X, if you substitute the value PT minus P1, you will get the final value. PA is equal to partial vapor pressure of gas A is equal to 2 times of P1 minus PT. P1 plus P1, 2P1 minus PT. That is the partial pressure of a gas A. Okay, that is equal to 2P1 minus PT. This is the second equation. So first and second equations we have to derive first. But according to the first order, the K, rate constant K value is equal to, already we derived this formula, 2.303 by T into logarithmic value of initial concentration by final concentration. But here, in the place of concentrations, we have to take the atmospheric pressures. That means initial pressure by final total pressure. So initial pressure by final pressure. Therefore, K is equal to 2.303 by T into log P1 by PA. So, but PA is equal to 2 times of P1 minus PT. Substitute this value in the equation PA, then final value K is equal to 2.303 by T log P1 by 2 times of P1 minus PT. The same formula we can derive at the concentrations of the reactants. So, this is the important formula for vapor pressures. K is equal to 2.303 by T into log P1 by 2P1 minus PT. This is for the first order reaction. So, learn this, try to understand, practice once. Next concept, we will go for this one. Second one is temperature dependence of rate of reaction. On rate of reaction, how the temperature affects. So, already we know that if the temperature increases, some reactions they will increase. Because by gaining some energy, the molecules, what they will do, they will react, they will collide with other particles and they will form the products very easily. So that is the temperature dependence. Let us see one example. N2O5 dissociation. N2O5 dissociation at 0 degree Celsius, its half-life is 10 days. 10 days. But if the temperature increases 25 degrees, if it is there at this one, the dissociation will be taken half of its original value. It will take some time, is 5 hours time. And if it is at 50 degrees Celsius, its half-life time period is only 12 minutes time. So that means from this one, it is observed that if the temperature increases, automatically the half-life period is also decreases, and automatically effect will be there on the rate of reaction. So that is the main important. Already we have done in laboratory, that is potassium permanganate titration of potassium permanganate with oxalic acid. So before doing this experiment, what we have to do? This oxalic acid, after adding some acid, we have to heat it. Why we should heat it? Because at the high temperature, what will happen? The potassium permanganate decolorizes very easily at low values, lower values. So that's why we have to add, that is we have to heat the oxalic acid. That means temperature dependence is there. From the experiments, they observed that. The scientists, they observed that for every 10 degrees centigrade rise, there is double the values will be there. Constant values will be doubled. Rate constant values will be doubled. They observed that. If they at t seconds of time, if the k value is some x, at t plus 10 degrees Celsius, that is 10 degrees rise, automatically the k value is automatically, they found that doubled the value of the rate constant k. So this is the observed. So this is one. After that, one half scientist, he proposed one theory, but afterwards Arrhenius, he developed the physical quantities of this theory, Arrhenius theories. So Arrhenius proposed an equation for the rate of reaction K is equal to A into e to the power minus EA by RT. So here A is called Arrhenius constant or Arrhenius factor, or it is also called the frequency factor. And E minus EA, that is EA, is called the activation energy. And R is the gas constant at a particular temperature T. So this is the relation he has given between the activation energy and the rate constant. So from this one, let us take one example and we will explain this Arrhenius rate constant. Example: hydrogen reacts with iodine and gives the hydrogen iodide. That means the molecules of hydrogen and iodine, they will collide, collision will be taken place between these two and forms the hydrogen iodide. So that means collision, when they will be taken place, already we know many theories. When the when the molecules are collided with each other, their potential energy changes into the kinetic energy, and they will collide with each other and they will form the products. But the diagram, that is the EA value, can be measured by plotting a plot between the potential energy of the molecules and the reaction coordinates. So what is the reaction coordinate? That is whatever the changes are there in the energy, that they will represent this reaction coordinates. If you draw a line between these two, then we got the graph like this. That means, see, the particles of hydrogen and iodine, the molecules of hydrogen and iodine, they will react and they will form the products 2HI. But when the temperature rises or energy is supplied from this graph, it is showing this one. Actually, this is the path of the formation of hydrogen iodide generally. But if you supply the energy, whatever the energy are supplied, that is called the activation energy. So this activation energy, what will happen? The molecules, they will collide with each other and they will form the more hydrogen iodide. But generally, so the enthalpy change delta H is also by showing that one actually it decreases, but the final product activation energy is more. So this activation energy, what it will do? It will make the molecules to gain the energy, and they will collide with each other and forms the products. So this is from this one we can calculate the activation energy from this graph. So this is the most important. And again, reaction coordination is nothing but the profile change, energy change of this hydrogen iodide formation. So the Arrhenius equation K is equal to A into e to the power of minus Ea by RT. So to find out the values of this one, taking natural logarithms on both sides. So then what it becomes? Natural logarithm of K is equal to natural logarithm of e to the power of minus Ea by RT will become so minus Ea by RT, and multiplication is there means plus logarithmic value of A constant. If you compare this one in terms of y is equal to mx plus c, we can draw a graph between these two to calculate the other values. Suppose y value on y axis, if you take the natural logarithm of k constant value, and m is the constant, that is minus Ea by r is the constant. So changing value is only t, that means 1 by t. So if you draw a graph between the natural logarithm of constant k value, rate constant, and 1 by t, we will get a straight line. See, so from this one we can know that what is the slope it represents? It is nothing but m is equal to minus Ea by RT. R, it will represent the slope, and wherever it intercept of this line on y-axis, that will explains the logarithmic logarithmic value of A, natural logarithmic value of A. So like this, we got the values. So slope here is Ea minus Ea by R. So now by comparison this one, we can calculate the logarithmic value of A. Okay. Now the same thing. This is the general equation of the temperature at a particular temperature. But temperature dependence means how much temperature difference is there, how much value it will rises, and we can calculate the minus Ea by Ea value, activation energy, we can take it. Suppose if T1 is the temperature at if K1 is the first constant, the formula will become so ln K1 is equal to minus Ea by R T1 into natural plus logarithmic value of A. So this is at temperature T1 and K1 are the K1 and T1 are the rate constant and the temperature at a particular instance. Equation 1. Suppose at a different temperature, after increasing the temperature T2, if its value is K2, the equation will become so natural logarithmic of K2 is equal to minus Ea by R is the gas constant, T2 is the temperature, plus standard value or constant value. This is the second equation. Now, so this is the final, this is the initial values. If you find out the difference between these two, means what we can do, natural logarithm of K2 minus natural logarithm of K1 is equal to, you have to subtract these two. That means minus, in these two, minus Ea by R is the common. So minus Ea by R, if you take out common, what will be left out? 1 by T1, 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. T1 plus logarithmic value of A. Both sides it is there. When you are subtracting, these two will be cancelled and you will get the final equation. Then, if you, it is in the natural logarithms, if you write the, it can be written as, since it is the difference, natural logarithm of K2 by K1, we can write down, is equal to minus Ea by R into, what is the 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. Now, change this natural logarithms into logarithmic values. So, we will multiply by 2.303. That means the formula converting into the logarithms, log K2 by K1. If you write down, it can be multiplied by 2.303 is equal to minus Ea by R into 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. But we want to find out the value of log K2 by K1. Bring this value to this side. Then the equation becomes, okay, log K2 by K1, that is two different rate constants, is equal to minus EA by 2.303 TR into 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. This is the final equation we can apply to calculate the, if they have given the two different rate constants and the two different temperatures, we can calculate the minus EA value. The same equation can be represented in another way also. That means log K2 by K1 is equal to minus EA by 2.303 R, and take the LCM of these two, T2 into T1, and T2 divided with T1 minus T2, you will get it. So this is also final equation to calculate the EA value when they have given the two constants and the two different temperatures. Let us discuss about the effect of catalyst. Already we know that in the presence of a catalyst, the rate of reaction will be increases. How it increases? Let us see it. For example, potassium chlorate. Dissociation in the presence of a catalyst manganese dioxide will give us the KCl and 3O2. We know that here manganese dioxide is the catalyst. Already we know that catalyst will do not take part directly in the reaction, chemical reaction, but it will helpful to increase the rate of reaction. So that's why. So how it increases? Let us see. Already we had a discussion that in temperature dependence, the diagram is given between the to find out the activation energy. We have to draw a graph between the potential energy and the reaction coordinates. So if you draw a graph between these two, so we got a chemical reaction. We have drawn the two lines. One is dotted lines and second one is the another lines. So this one. So this represents the activation energy without catalyst for a reaction. That means dissociation of potassium chloride gives rise to the products potassium chloride and oxygen. So without activation energy, this is the reaction will be carried. But if you apply the activation energy, now listen it here. So activation energy with catalyst. So the presence of catalyst, what it will do? It will reduces the activation energy. That means whatever the energy that we are giving to a reaction, that will be reduces. It will come down. That means low energy is given. So automatically the reaction will be carried. So whatever the activation energy there with catalyst, we can know it. This is the without catalyst. So this is the reaction path when the catalyst is there. Suppose when the activation energy with catalyst, this is the path of the reaction. So from this one we can conclude that means if in the presence of a catalyst, the activation energy, whatever the energy is needed, it will be reduced. So that is the point we have to know it. And already we know that the catalyst, the activation energy of a catalyst does not change the Gibbs free energy of the reaction. So that is also important. If the effect of catalyst will not be there, the delta G or activation energy in the presence of a catalyst, there was no change in the Gibbs free energy. So this is about the effect of catalyst. Now last point is there, that is collision theory. What are the points are there? Already we can come to know. After this we will have that also is there. Today the last concept, that is collision theory. So collision theory, it was proposed by Max Pranz and William Lewis. So these two, they proposed the theory, that means formation of products after reacting the species. So how they will form and what are the factors that affect the formation of products, they explained. So generally this collision theory main aspect is energistic and mechanistic. That means what are the energy, how much energy they should have, and in which mechanism they will formation. All these things were explained in the collision theory that was proposed by Max Pranz and William Lewis. So what are the important postulates in the collision theory? Let us discuss. So this is the last topic. So you may get one more questions from this collision theory. So they proposed that whatever the molecules are present or taking part in the reaction, they are considered as hard spheres, because this is also the same thing was proposed in the kinetic theory of gases also. The same. It would also mainly depend upon the kinetic theory of gases. So molecules are very hard spheres, and when the reaction will occur, if the molecules collide with each other, then only the products will be formed. That is the first postulate they tested. While forming this one, so they introduced a factor, that is a collision frequency, that is a Z word. So what example? A plus B reactants are reacting and they are giving the products. So therefore, the rate of reaction is mainly depend upon the Z of AB. That means reactants, collision frequency of the reactants, and e to the power of minus EA by RT, that is activation energy. So whenever this factor is there, collision frequency, already know that. How can we know it? Number of molecules that are colliding with each other in a particular volume. Number of particular volume, that they are calling it as the collision frequency. That means number of collisions that are taking place in 1 second in a particular unit of volume, that number we are calling it as the collision frequency. So therefore here Z indicates the collision frequency of the A and B, that means reactants, and E to the power of A by RT, that is activation energy. So when they will be there, which are called the effective collisions, all collisions they will not give the products. So some collisions only they will give the products. So those collisions we are calling it as the effective collisions. So effective collisions, when they will occur, if the molecules are having the sufficient kinetic energy while colliding, and if they are proper orientation, then only they will form the products. So these two factors are important. The effective collisions, when they will occur, the molecules which are having the before collision, they are having the sufficient kinetic energy, and they should be in the proper orientation. Then only the products will be formed. While doing this proper orientation, what will happen? So the bonds will be broken of the reactants. So this frequency, okay, then automatically they will form the bonds of the products. So example, let us take one example of this one. So effective collisions, that is proper orientation. So how can you say that it is properly oriented or not? Let us see one example. That means reaction of CH3Br, that is bromomethane and reaction with the OH molecules. Example, let us take it. Suppose if the OH, that is bromomethane, that means all the three CH carbon atoms and Br here. So this is the H, here H, plus OH minus. Suppose if the OH particles are coming and attacking this side, that means they cannot form the bond between the bromine and the hydrogen, OH molecules. So this they cannot give the products. The same OH molecule, if they are coming from this side, what they will do? They can make the bond between the carbon atom and bromine ion will be separated, so that the CH3OH and Br will be eliminated. So this orientation attacking from this side, so it will be, these are called the effective collisions. So if the collision occurs from this side with the bromine minus, so they never form the bonds. This is also minus and this is also minus. So if the orientation, that is proper orientation, if they come from this side, proper collisions will be taken place and form the products. So that is called the effective collisions. And that means formation of the bond, breaking the bond. Both should be there. Here the bromine bond is broken down and the formation of OH bond is forming. So like this, these are called the effective collisions will take place in this one. While taking this effective collisions, there is a factor, one more factor is also there, that is called the probability factor. That means what is the probability of formation of these products. That also is affecting the rate of reaction. So probability factor by rate is equal to P into ZAB into e to the power of minus EA by RT. Here it is called the probability factor. This probability factor is mainly determines, which one determines this one, this probability factor? EA by RT, that is activation energy, that is one, and proper orientation, this one. These two, they will make the effective collisions and form this one. So these two are mainly depend upon the probability of the factor. So like this, the collision theory was explained by those two. That means when the reaction occurs, so two factors are to be clear. That means the molecules should, which are colliding with this one, they should have the sufficient kinetic energy and they should be in the proper orientation. Then only we will get the product. So therefore finally, the rate of reaction is directly proportional to or this one, proper probability factor into Z means collision factor of AB and the activation energy of the molecules. So all these three factors they will affect, they explained very clearly, and since they are explaining about the collisions of the molecules, so this theory was also called the collision theory. So this is the lesson, and whatever the points we discussed, note down and do the numericals.